I want you all to stop and just ask yourself this. For as much as technology and the way in which we communicate with one another has evolved, changed the landscape, and how technology has advanced so much more than we could have possibly imagined, you have to sometimes think to yourself, how much time am I spending on this damn thing? Because it's going to get to a point where we're just looking at AI stuff, even though we already are now, and for somebody to just say to us, you're actually liking these things because this movie shows you, really? Like, people are actually liking this? And that is a concern to be had because, well, AI is more prevalent now than it ever has been. And for as much as I don't like it, companies sure want to use it. Just try to find any sort of way to enhance it to make it seem like this is what everybody wants. Nice try, but no. And no matter how much you want to push it, I'm also not going to spout any sort of sponsorship that you want to thrust upon me and think that, man, thank you for advertising this with the AI and making me say I want this. Because let me tell you, nobody wants that shit. Nobody. I don't know who, but seriously, nobody. That'd be very depressing if that's the case. If this movie is showing me anything, it is definitely showing me that.
It's gonna be okay. Or it's not. I don't know.
Good luck, have fun, don't die is directed by Gore Verbinski and written by Mark Robinson. The film stars Sam Rockwell, Haley Lou Richardson, Michael Peña, Zazie Beetz, Asim Chaudhry, Tom Taylor, and Juno Temple. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, a man from the future arrives at a diner in Los Angeles where he must recruit the precise combination of disgruntled patrons to join him on a one-night quest to save the world from the terminal threat of a rogue artificial intelligence. Gore Verbinski. It has been a hot minute since this man has made a movie, with A Cure for Wellness being the last film that he had directed. This man, who is responsible for bringing us and helping Disney, either good or bad way, popularizing the idea of taking attractions and making them into movies, leading it all with Pirates of the Caribbean, at least the first three movies, and of course a movie that, even though it still gets the love and appreciation it deserves, it's one that a lot of people talk about in terms of how it is so completely different than most anime movies are out there. And of course it got mentioned, but still, Rango is one that people are really talking about as one animated film that doesn't get as much love or as much attention as it does. And also for horror fans, I'll mention it, he also did the Ring remake, the American version, and we can all forget about the Lone Ranger, but then again, that wasn't really all his fault. That was more of other issues. But the last movie this man had made was A Cure for Wellness, like I mentioned, and yeah, the movie did not get critical reception and it did very poorly at the box office. And after that, this man just disappeared. It's almost like after that, he was almost in this thing that has been always thrown around about directors, certain ones at best, where if they screw up or mess up so many times, they land in director jail, where because they didn't do well, they are now stuck in sort of limbo where they're not like retired, but they're also not making a lot of movies as they used to, or at the very least ones that they want to make, or giving them a chance to direct something else. It's just seeming like they are never given the chance after that. And yeah, it kind of seems that way because now that it's been 10 years, and yes, I said that. It's been 10 years. Cure for Wellness came out in 2016, folks. It's crazy to think that that was the last time he made something. Verbinski comes roaring back with this latest science fiction action comedy. I like all these three, mainly the science fiction, but when you get them together, you got something that you can work with here. And plus, having Sam Rockwell is a bonus to have in a film that just doesn't get enough appreciation when he appears in. And it's not to say that he doesn't get any sort of love. I mean, the man has a Best Supporting win from 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. But, I mean, most people can say, well, he's not on this actor's level, or he's one that just so many people kind of forget sometimes. And I think that this is a guy who is very versatile. If you need him to be dramatic or funny, he can do both of those things. And that's just always the charm that he also brings, and the captivation that you always like watching from him. And with this concept, even though it is not wholly original, I get it, it has been done before with something like Groundhog's Day or Edge of Tomorrow, these sort of time loop, time travel films that repeat same sort of current events, or at the very least, playing out how the character had remembered it in this sort of time loop. Again, nothing original. But the concept, what they wanted to do with this movie, having it focus heavily on AI and the usage and how insane and crazy it can get, even though it is of the absurd nature, but it is one that can really be prevalent of today. The one question I have is, could this finally give Verbinski the comeback that he needs? A chance for him to finally be redeemed and be like, okay, you can direct movies or make the movies that you want to make. And the answer for me, fuck yes, he can. Like, no questions about it, okay? Still, I'm in total shock and disbelief on what I watched, but in the best way. And I seriously mean that. I am not saying that this movie is terrible. This movie's amazing. It is by far one of the funniest movies I've seen so far, and one that I love. But I'm still thinking to myself, what the hell was that? I mean, I loved it, but I really don't know how to explain this because it's just so insane and just batshit crazy. But before addressing my only issue, and yes, I have one problem with this movie that stops it from being perfect, here are the positives that I saw. The performances are excellent. The entire cast, but in particular, Rockwell, Lou Richardson, and Temple are hilarious and captivating throughout, allowing them to be fast and loose. And for a movie of this concept, I mean, of course, you have to have your actors feel like they are in constant move and always having to be thinking quickly or having themselves put together so that way they can focus on the task at hand. Everyone in this movie does that. Sam Rockwell, like I mentioned, can be funny. And oh my god, this guy is hilarious. He's just generally captivating and so fed up with all of this bullshit because of the fact that even though he is from the future, he knows how things are going to happen, he has done this scenario multiple times, and he is trying his best to like figure out, okay, who am I taking along for this adventure? Who am I picking out? Who is going to get me to where I need to go so that way I can just end this apocalyptic situation that will be upon us in the future. Like, how can I do that? And he just balances out the charm factor and also the funny vibes that you get from him very well. He really toes between just being enough for this movie to handle and one that just really fully leans into how this movie needs to be. Haley Lou Richardson, who I haven't seen much of, but I think she is really excellent in this movie, especially with her backstory involving technology and being really allergic to it. And it's just funny watching her having that, but also showcasing her struggles with how she's able to maintain this sort of feeling of wanting to end everything and feeling like she doesn't care about what's going to happen. She's just in it for some sort of enjoyment because there's stuff with her that's affected her personally that she's just willing to end everything or just go along with it for as much as she'll know it's really crazy. She's willing to take that risk more so than just feel as if whatever sort of virtual world that could be bringing to her, she rather choose to be in the moment in what the world is going to be throwing at her. Juno Temple, who I don't have much experience with her because last time I saw her in something was 2 years ago with Venom the Last Dance, which I mean, I won't deny, it's still not a good movie. Here, she is excellent. I think she has a story that is very disturbing and funny all in one. It is crazy the storyline that her character goes through involving school shootings. And I'm not trying to make fun of it because I'm not, but the movie addresses school shootings and is so darkly disturbing that I laughed at it. And it's just insane and crazy to think somebody actually went that far to actually talk about that sort of thing. And she really does play a grieving mother who is just trying to process this sort of tragedy that has happened to her personally and how she is trying to also help out the man from the future, Sam Rockwell, in the rest of the group and trying to figure out how to get through the night. And of course, I also like Michael Peña and Zazie Beetz. They add some comedy relief in the movie, and their storyline I thought was also interesting, but it was just there to sort of set up this duality of relationships and how much schooling has really hampered their feelings for one another and how they interact with people. And also, too, I wanted to give a shout out to Asim Chaudhry. That guy is hilarious as Scott, one of the patrons that is along for this journey, because, oh my god, for a guy who you think, like, all right, he's going to be one of the throwaway people in this movie that is not going to add much to the film. Sure, but at the same time, he adds something. And that something is also just craziness, insanity. And where things end up for him, it's just hilarious and it's just so screwed up, but you love it. And for a guy who is with other heavy hitter actors, or at least recognizable actors, he does a great job of keeping up with them. Kind of crazy to think that an actor who I haven't heard of can just also really manage to keep up with the momentum of what this movie's asking. The direction is strong. Director Gore Verbinski is unapologetic and crafty when being efficient at showcasing this wild journey, keeping things exciting and bizarre as they come. Gore Verbinski is a director that I think very much in line with what he thinks the movie needs to be. He is somebody who understands, like, yeah, this is going to be bizarre, this is going to be weird, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And he is so unapologetic with this movie. Like, I mean, when I say unapologetic, I mean, like, how much this is insane, this is crazy, but he is also really hammering the idea of, like, this is how AI really has screwed us up in terms of how we've kind of taken in content, or how we've watched things, how we analyze things. And I also just like the fact that he's able to handle the dynamic of the group and showcasing their journey throughout this movie, that I was really wrapped in. And I also like the individual stories that some of the characters have. Like I said, in particular, Susan and Ingrid, both Juno Temple and Haley Lou Richardson's character, and issues that they've had in life and the tragedies that follow. There's just something in the way in which Verbinski really wants you to feel like you're a part of the group. You want to feel like you are along for this ride and showing the craziness of it. And I feel like he was allowed to do that without having to feel like there was some sort of mandate, or some executive saw a cut of this movie and said, no, we need to take everything out. I feel like he was given the reins to do what he wanted to do about rogue AI just taking over the world and just going absolutely crazy with it. Like, insane. The writing is phenomenal. Writer Mark Robinson pens a script that's both funny and intense, that makes for standout moments, being one of the most fun scripts out there at the moment. Like, the film is just fun. I think that's the best way I would describe it. For as much as the commentary in this movie about AI and how it has really devolved us, and how we are so reliant on the not only usage of technology, but rather just the fact how AI is just growing bigger and larger. I mean, we're seeing it now. We're seeing how companies are utilizing it for platforms and for their social media, whatever it is. They are really trying to hammer in, like, okay, yes, AI is going to stay, but the fact that it's going to be used for a lot of things for entertainment rather than just using it as a tool to help people. It's just crazy to think that Mark Robinson was able to just tap into that notion of, look, this is exaggerated, it's crazy, but there is some truth in how we just go along with it, and how we just get AI slop, how we are just so willing to just excuse it. For as much as we laugh at some of the dumb absurdity of it, it can get to a point where we just honestly think it is better content than what actual human beings can make. And it's great to see him really tackle that, but also make it as hilarious as it is. Because, man, this movie is just funny. It really is. It is darkly comedic. And if dark comedy is not your thing, then this movie can't work for you. But if you are, I'm telling you, you're going to have a fun time with this. This story is creative. Following a man from the future recruit diner patrons to fight a rogue AI was both fun and hilarious from start to end. This is one of the most inventive and unique films out there right now. I mean, when I say this movie is creative, in the way where it may not be wholly original, but is so well put together. Mark Robinson came up with not really just the concept, but rather just what the story idea for this about a guy trying to save the world in one night and having AI just be running amok and really taking over people in an exaggerated way, but in a fun way that I was just along for it. I was just like constantly throughout thinking to myself, I gotta see what's gonna happen next. Like I was not bored. This is how insane and chaotic this movie is, but in a really creative and clever way that you're just not seeing a lot in movies today. The cinematography is chaotic. Cinematographer James Whittaker shoots a frantic but crazy film that shows the madness and mayhem of LA, making for one wild ride. The way it is all shot, how it is all handled is there. How Whittaker is able to follow our heroes, how it is showcasing all the sort of coincidences that happen to our characters, like luck having to be on their side throughout most of this movie, I think is just funny. And some of the like insane moments that happens in the movie, I think are impressive and just downright shocking. But I'm always loving what I'm seeing, especially when they're getting chased by two gangsters and a homeless guy. Like, no joke. Like, that's what happens to them on this journey. I won't go any more than that, but they just encounter these moments, and it's just making for something that is both chaotic, but also just a lot of fun. The music is solid. Composer Jeffrey Zeleny crafts a hyper and loud score that fits well with the style and tone, giving the abrasive feeling throughout. You want to have a score that really complements the eeriness, but also the frantic sort of vibes that you get. And he does that. He's able to really tap into the nature of how crazy this can all get and can get as intense as it is. And he is able to really give the vibes that this movie needs to be. And I appreciated the fact that what I like in a composer is understanding a director's vision or a writer's sort of point of view of what this movie has to sound and feel when those moments happen. The production is effective. It may be a smaller budget because it is on a budget of $20 million, which, hey, you know what? It may be, a little small, but I will take that compared to most movies these days. It's crazy just the amount of effort that is on display here. I mean, seriously, seeing the crew work, the sets that are involved, and the costumes shows that hard work, especially the costume that Sam Rockwell has to wear that he even addresses in the movie as the height of fashion. And I love it. It is dumb, it is ridiculous, it is so goofy looking on him. It's so corny, but goddamn, I think it's really amazing to see the little detailing on him, especially, his watch or his backpack, or even some of the things on his body that you see that are connected to that denier he has. It's just an overall good time to see a movie that just is embracing its silliness. And again, yes, it has a serious message, is effective at that, but is just funny watching how this movie just plays out from beginning to end. But that's just because of the amount of work and talent that went into it. The effects are good, though exaggerated and cartoonish, because, I mean, of course, that's just going to be the case. They fit perfectly for this crazy world, making sure to prioritize what to put in detail. There are some effects in this movie, practical or visual effects, that I think were detailed and looked very well, and also some of the practicality, whether it be some of the stunt work or even just area in which things are moving around them, even if they're all a bit CGI. Notice like some of the things that they have to put on actors. Like there's a lot of effects that just really pull off well for a movie like this. Even if it doesn't have a high budget, it's able to pull it off in a convincing and really stellar way. The editing is great. Each cut and transition feels seamless and well put together, allowing it to add more zany style to the film. Editing that fits well with how this movie is supposed to be, and ways that feel effective, especially when they are transitioning into serious moments or just into characters' backstories for the group, or just cuts to make this feel faster and hyper crazy. And that's what works about how a movie like this can really come off as. It has to feel in this sort of vein of being as bombastic and as insane as it is. And the cuts here just feel well put together. Nothing about this screams like nothing was ever really out of place. Everything was like precisely what it needs to be. For everything this movie does, there's only an issue that holds it back from being perfect. Here is now my only negative. The pacing runtime is stretched. Scenes would be fast, but slow scenes would drag out a bit. With a runtime of 2 hours and 14 minutes, it could have been trimmed down, I think, just a bit. Not to say that this movie isn't fast paced, nor am I saying dramatic scenes need to be now quicker, but I do think that there are times where it lingers a bit, or when it gets to like the final act, I started to kind of feel that runtime a bit, and I do think it starts to feel like it's losing itself just a tiny bit in the way in which it's trying to wrap everything up. Even if I really like the ending, I'm just saying that there could have been ways to kind of trim it down. It does start to feel a little bit stretched out and a little bit outstaying its welcome to where it becomes very noticeable. With a stacked cast, exceptional direction, innovative story, and quirky writing, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die exceeds at being creative and different than most movies. Its commentary on AI and humanity is funny but effective at the same time. Though it can be lengthy, it's great to see Gore Verbinski return and can make more movies in his way. That's what I'm hoping. I really hope that this film allows other studios, or at the very least, give him a chance. I mean, come on, it's been 10 years, you guys, and if he can knock it out of the park with this movie, I mean, why can't you give him a chance? If you just want something original, you guys, if you really want to watch something that is just out there and insane and doesn't feel like this movie, if you ask me, wouldn't be made by any sort of company that is well recognized, honestly consider this film. I really do, because I really think that this movie has something to say, and it's just funny. Like, it's legit unapologetically funny. I'm gonna give Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die a 9 out of 10. This movie's amazing. So far, we're off to a good start with movies, and you know what? I'll take this as a win. So far, we're only 4 movies deep, but hey, I'll legit take this as a win so far, and I just hope this is a good streak because, yeah, I just would like 2026 to be a bright year for movies, and if this movie has shown me anything instead, maybe it can be, hopefully. So I will be soon doing a review for Crime 101. So yes, look forward to that review and other reviews coming soon.